Mike Jones, they call the plays in the zone. Spit facts, no cap, straight to the bone. Gritter roaring gossip, the field's their home. Huddle up, press play, you're never alone. Sunday sermons, but the church is turf. From Lambeau chills to Miami surf. Quarterback questions, they dissect the worth. Dropping gems like they mine the earth. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. NFL drama, they break it down surgical. Draft day whispers, moves so tactical. Receiver stretching arms, catches vertical. Big C's laugh hitting, vibes so magical. Mike Jones got stats like a human playbook. Big C's insight sharper than a no-look. Halftime debates, better than they should. You fumble the podcast, now you misunderstood. Flags fly, refs blind, penalty stack. They calling out the calls, no sugar, just facts. Fantasy picks, who's carrying the pack? Every week they hit harder than a linebacker smack. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. Sunday sermons, but the church is turf. From Lambeau chills to Miami surf. Quarterback questions, they dissect the worth. Dropping gems like they mine the earth. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop.
What up, football fans? Welcome to another episode of Laces Out Live. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. And you all know my co-host, Mike Jones. Mike Jones, what up? We finally got some football in the rearview mirror. Exciting times. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling pretty good. And you know, the big thing about it was the first two games of the season, they neither of them disappointed. So I'm pretty excited. Season's here. We get to make our picks. We're a day late. Sorry about that. Had a unfortunate mishap.
That was my fault.
Oh yeah, that was his fault. But we're here, and I'm ready to talk some football.
Yeah, baby, yeah. So let's just jump into it. We had a Thursday night game, NFC East. That's Mike's division. We had the Dallas Cowboys traveling up to Philly to see the NFL champion Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, we had fireworks right from the start, right? Before this game even really got started.
Yep.
A spitting incident, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. There's no place for that in sports.
No, he wasn't even on his side of the field.
What did you think about that whole situation?
You know, it's one thing to have something to say, but, you know, if you're in the street and you spit on somebody, you can expect to get punched right in your face. I mean, it's one of the most disrespectful things you can do. I don't know what the context was. I tried to see if there was any information out there, but for him to go over the line of scrimmage and Carter to be sitting there and all the way over towards their huddle, I mean, and then he's the one that spits on Dak Prescott. Dak spit on the ground in front of him, and homeboy spit pretty much in his chest. I mean, he got kicked out, and you know, you're defending Super Bowl champions, and you don't need one of your defensive leaders to sit there and do some stuff like that. And you know, luckily Philly came away with a victory, so you know, I can't really say much. But if Philly would have lost, you better believe it'd probably be a lot bigger than it should have been. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they should have? Do you think he should be suspended?
I think so. I think he should absolutely be suspended. I think that, you know, I mean, I think there was more to it. I think Dak did do some disrespectful stuff. There was obviously where it said Dak did spit in his direction. Dak smiled and said something. He said something, but right. He's got to have some self-control. you're the best defensive player on that Philadelphia Eagles team. They rely on you, and regardless, you can't do that. You're a role model for all these children. It's just, put an extra hit on them in the game. You know what I mean? But to spit on someone, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up winning, pulling it out 24-20 over the Dallas Cowboys. But I was impressed with the Dallas Cowboys. I was really impressed with the Dallas Cowboys, in particular their running game. Williams had a big game, 2 rushing touchdowns early. This game could have turned out a whole lot different if CeeDee Lamb wouldn't have had some key drops at the end. Now, CeeDee Lamb is absolutely phenomenal. He made some catches that I was like, damn, wow. There was a comeback route that it looked like it was for sure going to be intercepted. And here comes CeeDee Lamb out of nowhere and snatched it out of the air. And, but he had some key drops that really cost this football team down the stretch. But I was impressed with the Dallas Cowboys, and, they might be more of a problem than what we initially thought. What's your thoughts on these Cowboys in this game overall?
I mean, I'd have to agree. I mean, like we said, Carter is out. You're missing your biggest defensive player on the team. And let's just say the Dallas offense looked good. Dak, his passes were dead on. Like, they were hitting CD. The ones that CD dropped were still in his hands. So CD had an opportunity, and I think they honestly let that game get away, because CD catches 1, maybe 2 of those. That's game. That's game. I think Dallas comes away with the victory, and the Philadelphia Eagles are dealing with Carter in a different situation. I don't know. Maybe they sit him for a week, but then again, you can't really sit your best player either. But I think Philly got lucky. Even the Dallas defense played well. They kept Saquon to just above, like, around 60 yards rushing. There was no explosive plays from Saquon. Not really what I was expecting. So, maybe Jerry was right. Maybe he was right about getting rid of one of the best defenders in the league. But, time will tell. It's first week. I just think Philadelphia got really lucky. I really do.
Well, when do we Jalen Hurts, and let the clown show begin? Obviously, we have the group clown, Michael K, role models for all the children. Yet Tyreek beats his wife, and that's okay. Whoever said that Tyreek in his personal life is okay? You know what I mean? Like, no one ever supported Tyreek off the field. Never have I been like, oh, it's all right that Tyreek does the stuff he does off the field. No, absolutely not. Never did I co-sign that. So to make that statement is absolutely ridiculous, and that I do take offense to that, because you're calling out what type of man I am and what I support in my personal life, and beating women is not that, not at all. But yeah, not to mention Tyreek ain't beating his wife in public. You know what I mean? Like, this is a public thing. You know what I mean? Like, he did this in front of millions and millions and millions of people. You know what I mean? Like, again, beating your wife is not all right. It's not. I don't think that it's less of a crime than what Jalen Carter did by any means. Don't beat your wife. You heard it here first. You know what I mean?
Don't beat your wife.
It's a terrible thing, and you're a piece of garbage if you beat your wife. Yep. But yeah. Anyway, keep moving the goalposts. You're a clown. You're a clown, bro. But anyway, Jalen Hurts. I was really impressed with Jalen Hurts. He's an absolute playmaker. Do I think he's got the best arm in football? No. But the way that he makes things happen when there is nothing, you really got to consider putting him into that elite quarterback conversation, just by the way he maneuvers around the field, the way he makes something out of nothing. Now, I don't think he's as good as Lamar. I don't think he's good as Josh, but he is definitely, if he's not in that group, he's right there. You know what I mean? And he does have a lot of weapons. He does got 2 good wide receivers. He does got a good tight end. He does have the best running back in all of football. He does have an exceptional offensive line, but all those things aren't really helping him when pressure's bearing down on him and he just makes a defender miss and makes a throw down the field or makes a person miss and, scampers for a 20-yard touchdown. He was absolutely phenomenal in this game. I'm starting to change my mind on Jalen Hurts. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, he just makes the right choices, 2 rushing touchdowns for him, 1 for Saquon. It's just, he didn't even utilize his wide receivers like he could have. But I mean, it was a good game. He played a good game. He plays real flawless games. Maybe he doesn't take as many chances. But this is definitely Dallas's game to lose. I mean, Sanders had a 49-yard run down the field, and they were almost into the red zone, or they were in the red zone, and then they go and cough up a fumble and turn the ball over. And then you got the drops by CD, and you got personal fouls. Pickens had a personal foul, clotheslining the guy, grabbing him by the helmet. Just, I really think Dallas shot their own self in the foot here. I think if they made better choices, this game is definitely a Dallas win.
Well, I think Jerry Jones. Go ahead.
In the weather delay, I mean, who did that hurt? Who did that affect? Because, Philly scored 3 straight touchdowns, and then they go into halftime, and then all of a sudden they come out and there's an hour and 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, something break, like that.
Which was,
I think Jerry Jones is looking
insanity.
Real smart right now. Kenny Clark looked phenomenal. And the fact that you can't this day and age in the NFL have such a large portion of your salary cap go the 3 players. And that's the position the Dallas Cowboys were in. You know what I mean? You're going to have to pay him the money that Dak gets, the money that CeeDee Lamb gets. There wasn't going to be much left to build a team around. And Kenny Clark played phenomenal, in my opinion. I thought he was great. He was definitely a force in stopping the run, holding Saquon to what? I don't know how many yards Saquon had.
It was like 62 or 63.
Yeah, not a typical Saquon game. But yeah, I was highly impressed with Dallas. A lot of questions in Philadelphia. When does A.J. Brown start losing it? You know what I mean? And I think they went to the 4th quarter and he had 0 targets. We've seen that story before. I was expecting Philly to come out and handle their business better than what they did. I think they're still the team to beat in the NFC, but they're not perfect. And I come out of this game looking at Dallas a little bit better than what I initially perceived them to be.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Offensively, Dallas is going to be a problem, and defensively, they could be a problem too. Which like you said, Jerry definitely isn't looking as silly as I had initially made him out to be. So I'll give him props where it's due.
Sean said he heard they got Christian Wilkins too. If Dallas got Christian Wilkins and he gets healthy, man, they'll have a pretty formidable defensive line there. Because Christian Wilkins, when healthy, is one of the best D tackles in football, specifically against the run. I mean, that would be huge if he signed there and he can get healthy. All right, let's move it on. Friday night in Mexico, we got the other half of the Super Bowl. Was it in Brazil? I thought it was.
Yeah, it was Brazil.
Maybe I was watching. Maybe I was playing a game that was in Mexico. I might have been playing Madden. It was in Mexico or something. I don't know where I got that from. Well, anyway, yeah, in Brazil. Whatever. They all speak the same language. But we had the other half of the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Man, oh man, oh man. What a slow start for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I come out of this and, Justin Herbert looked phenomenal. Especially on that last drive where, he took it into his own hands, ran down and, put the game to bed. Keenan Allen looked great, throwing back the hands of time. Their running back, he was phenomenal. Hampton. The Chargers are definitely a playoff team in my opinion. Do I think that this win means that they're gonna overthrow the Kansas City Chiefs in this division? No. Kansas City started off slow, and then Patrick started to get it going. Patrick made some plays that just there's not too many people on the planet besides Patrick Mahomes that can make some of the plays Patrick Mahomes makes. He is just he's Mr. Magic. They had laid out a couple hits on Patrick when he was running out of bounds. Finally, he lowers his shoulder and pops the corner, which, you love that from your quarterback. You know what I mean? I wish we had a quarterback in Miami that was able to do that, but he's got swag. He's so good. Again, Kansas City kind of cost themselves. They had a chance to come back and take this lead, and Harrison Buckner missed that extra point. That was devastating. What'd you think about this one?
I mean, Mahomes looked good. Like Mahomes always does. It's kind of what you expect from him. It definitely didn't help that they lost Xavier Worthy on like the third snap on a crossing route. Him and Travis Kelce collided. So he went out with a shoulder issue. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get used to Patrick Mahomes making crazy little flip plays, and then he's rolling all the way right on a fourth down and bombs the ball down to the left side of the field, and it's just wide open. It's like crazy. But you can't say enough about Herbert coming out over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. I think he's one of 3 Chargers quarterbacks to do that, which was Phillip Rivers and Dan Fouts. So, I mean, he definitely looks like he's taken that next step, and they made a statement. I mean, Keenan Allen, like you said, turning back hands of time, 7 receptions, 68 yards and a touchdown. He was finding all the open spaces at the right time, and like you said, Herbert just came down in that last drive. Kansas City really needed to stop, and Herbert just casually runs for a 19-yard first down to send the Kansas City Chiefs home. I mean, there's not much to say. I think there was good play on both sides, but the Chargers just did it better. And, Patrick Mahomes can only do so much. He can only do so much. He's one player. So I think Chargers have a better team. I really do.
They might have a better team. Let's not forget Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. Everywhere he's coached, he's been great, whether it's Stanford, the 49ers, Michigan, and now here with the Chargers. I think he's going to do wonders for Justin Herbert's career. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He seemed more confident, when he ran that ball, and he won that game for him. You could just see in his face that he expected to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
The look that he gave, he expected to be in that position. He expected to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And that's a confidence I don't think we've ever seen him play with before. So that's huge for them. I still like the Chiefs in this division. Patrick Mahomes wasn't very good for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters. And then he just turns it on. Patrick Mahomes is going to get it going. They'll get Rice back soon. Hollywood Brown was phenomenal for them. Travis Kelce will get it going. What did you think about that smack that they didn't kick the guy out the game? Tart.
Yeah,
Tart.
He definitely should have been. He should have been
open hand smacked Travis Kelce. Kelsey's head snapped all the way back.
It's one thing
because there was an open hand slap that they didn't kick him out the game.
Right. But it's one thing if it's an open hand glancing slap. But this was, I mean, that was straight into the front of his, flush with his face mask. You could hurt somebody, and it's just unacceptable. I don't understand what it is with the first 2 games of the season, but it seems like the first 2 games of the season, we got people acting highly inappropriate. Like, this is football. Let's play football. And this is what it's about. You can talk, run your mouth. That's what people do. Get under somebody's skin. But when you start throwing, I mean, I consider it a punch, even though his hand was open. It was just how he did it. So when you start doing
Yeah,
that or spitting on
the amount
people,
of force that was behind that,
yeah, you could
I
see
think
it. Like you could
he should
literally
have been
see
kicked out
his
that game.
hand. You could literally see when his hand hit his face mask, the face mask almost pushed and touched to his face. I mean, that's pretty insane. So, and he wound up and did it. He tapped him with his left, and then he came around and just straight up. I mean, there's no excuse. I think he definitely got away with one. I think honestly, if they look at it now, I'd go back and I'd give him a suspension. Like, let's play football. That's what we're here to do. It's useless.
Well,
It doesn't help your team.
I think a fine should definitely be in order. And Terrian Tart made a difference down the stretch. If Terrian Tart was in that game, he got his hands on quite a few balls that, that Patrick Mahomes threw from the pocket that could have altered this game. You know what I mean? So maybe we're talking about a different score. Yeah, maybe we're talking about a different score if Terrian Tart was ejected at that point. But yeah, I like the Chiefs still. I think the Chargers are 100% a playoff team. What'd you think about the Chargers running back?
I mean, I thought he was solid. I really did. I was curious. I picked up Najee Harris in our fantasy league, expecting maybe that he would get a little more. But I mean, I thought he did good. He kept the sticks moving. He was popping off 4 or 5 yards at a time. He was there when he was needed in the short passes. I know you were waiting for a couple short passes there. They came real late for both your running backs in that game. So I think he was phenomenal. I think, they looked really good, and the Chargers I think they're going to be challenging Kansas City really tough for that number 1 spot. I really do. They look really good. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, who did we both took Philly the first game. Me and you talked last night.
Yep.
You took before the game.
You took my homie.
You took the Chargers.
Yes, sir.
You took the Chargers. You did. That was going to be your big upset. Yep. So Mike Jones called that one on there. So you were 2-0 on the season. I'm 1-1.
Yeah, man, it's all right. There's a long season, man.
It's all right. I'm going to catch you up. I'm going to take over right here this week. Let's get into it. We're going to go over the games. We're going to pick, and we'll give you our opinions on who's this week's big winners are going to be.
Yeah. So let's just start with Pittsburgh Jets. I thought this was interesting. Fields and Aaron Rodgers literally swapping places. I think it's kind of silly, but I honestly think that Fields is going to be better for the New York Jets. I think it's going to, with Braylon and the running back group they have there, I think it could be really good. Rodgers at the same time last year, he had a decent year. He started real slow, but I think he was nursing that injury for most of the year. But he did start looking a lot better towards the end of the year. Is that going to register switching teams and going to Pittsburgh on what is more than likely his final year? I'm not really sure. I think this is going to be a very good game. I just don't sleep on Aaron Rodgers because it wouldn't surprise me. And now they got DK Metcalf coming off a almost 1,000-yard season, and they got Calvin Austin. They got good punt returner, TJ Watt on D. They just have a lot of good pieces. Pittsburgh's always decent. Pittsburgh's defense is always decent, and they're always there in the thick of it with Mike Tomlin. He keeps that group pretty well ran. But I'm kind of excited. I think my dad will be excited to see the Jets because I think the Jets could look a lot better than last year. I don't think they're going to be anything spectacular, but they did draft rookie offensive tackle Armand Membu from Missouri. They are starting without their right guard Elijah Vera Tucker, injured his tricep in practice, so who knows how long he'll be out. And Justin Fields, I don't know. I think just maybe this situation, sometimes you need to change the scenery, and I think he could do good with the Jets. I never expect too much from the Jets. We're always clowning on the Jets. You like to say them goddamn stinking Jets. And, they're my dad's team. I'm not going with them winning. So this one was tough. I think this is going to be a really close game, but ultimately I got Pittsburgh 2017 in this one.
You got Pittsburgh what? 2017?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this is the way I see it. The Jets are not very good. I think Aaron Glenn is. We got to see what type of coach Aaron Glenn's going to be. He was a great defensive coordinator for the Lions. The Jets are getting 3 points in this game. Pittsburgh, they went out and got Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, DK Metcalf. This team is trying to go all in. This may be Mike Tomlin's last hurrah in Pittsburgh. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's done a phenomenal job in Pittsburgh. He's never misses the playoffs, right? But when does that become stale? When do you expect more? The expectations are Super Bowls in Pittsburgh, and I just don't think those expectations are getting met. Father Time is undefeated. Aaron Rodgers did play better at the end of last year. I think he will be better than Russell Wilson. I think this team will start out all right. I think they'll beat up on the Jets. The Jets do got a decent defense. Quentin Williams in the middle there. He's an animal. They got some pretty good pass rushers. They should be able to run the ball with Breece Hall and Justin Fields. Justin Fields, if there's one thing he can do, he's a great athlete and he's very mobile. But when you got TJ Watt chasing after you, bad things are liable to happen. I got the Steelers 24-13. 24-13. They cover the spread.
Nice. All right. How about you lead us into Tampa Bay, Atlanta?
Tampa, Atlanta. This should be a really good game. NFC South division rivals. Baker Mayfield played lights out last year. Atlanta started off decent, but Kirk Cousins was an absolute bum last year. He just they gave him the big contract, but still took the quarterback in the first round, Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Atlanta's good enough to hang with Tampa this year. Like I said, Atlanta was leading that division last year, but a late season push by the Bucs paired with the Falcons absolutely collapsing down the stretch gave Tampa the NFC South last year. It was their fourth straight division. It really depends on how far along Michael Penix comes, because Michael Penix got some weapons. You got Bijan Robinson over there. He's an animal, absolute animal. Can they finally use Pitts in the correct way? This tight end he came out of college as the number one the highest drafted tight end ever. I think they took him with the number 3 pick. So can they finally get Pitts going in the right direction? They got receivers, Drake London, Mooney. So they got some weapons. I just really like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield proved that he's a franchise quarterback. You got Mike Evans over there, Chris Godwin still. They drafted a receiver. Their running backs, they got a pretty good 1-2 punch. Bucky Irving and what's the other guy's name? I forget, but Bucky Irving's a really good running back. I like their defense too. Their defense is pretty good. How many points? Let me see what the spread is on this game. Try to do with the spreads today. So Tampa is 1.5 point favorites. They're playing in Atlanta. I say Baker outperforms Michael Penix. I think this is going to be a very good game, though. I think Atlanta will be competitive, but I got Tampa Bay 24-20. covering the spread.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I was definitely on the bandwagon for Tampa last year. He's definitely established himself, and he's very consistent, and he's going to put up some crazy numbers. I still have questions, like you said, of Penix. He needs to get a full season under him, but I think Atlanta has an opportunity with Penix. I think Penix could be a really good quarterback. I wanted to pick Atlanta, I really do, and I fought with this one for. Oh,
You
I'm
should
still
though.
fighting with it. I want to, like, I want to pick Atlanta. Something in my belly, I guess, is telling me to pick Atlanta, but I was on Baker's side last year. I'm gonna go. Atlanta beat the Bucks twice, both times last year, and they still don't. I think Godwin's still out for a couple games. Oh my God, this is a terrible one. I'm going to pick Atlanta. You did 24-20 Tampa. I'm gonna do 24-20 Atlanta. For the shocker. I don't think it'll be a shocker. I really don't.
Nice.
All right. How about I go into Vikings Bears? The Bears, they got, obviously, coaching situation has changed. They got Dennis Allen, comes over from the Saints, and from 22 to 24, the defense, they were in the top 10 in multiple defensive categories. So, I mean, that's a positive. He's taken over a good Bears D that was 8th best in scoring D last year. So, and honestly, Bears' shitty coaching last year cost them, I think, a lot of games. Time management and just poor play calls, and Caleb's just, I don't know. Everything looked jumbled last year for the Bears, but Caleb Williams did look good. He looked really good. I like how he plays. Hopefully the coaching change fixes everything. I mean, I guess it can't really get worse. Eberflus ended up going over to Dallas, which seems like he did all right over there. And then you got former head coach or former offensive coach Ben Johnson is the head coach now. So I think this is going to be a really good year for them. Vikings, I don't know. They got JJ McCarthy. He had the meniscus injury the year before. I'm not. He's going to have to establish himself, and I don't know if that's going to happen so quickly. I am excited to see how he does, though. I was curious how he would play. I was thinking about it last year, but I think the Bears come out. I think the Bears come out firing. I think they have a good game. I think it's ultimately close, but I think I got the Bears. What did I have? 27-21 Bears.
27-21 Bears. Well, Minnesota's a 1.5 favorite. Brian Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators in all of football. They should have a great defense this year, probably top 5. JJ McCarthy, he's the unknown. He won a national championship at Michigan, but missed all last year. Sam Darnold came in and played phenomenal for Minnesota. They don't need McCarthy to come in and score a shit ton of points, right? Because they got such a good defense. You got playmakers.
Reset your mic, brother. Sorry. I didn't want you to get too far into it.
Sorry about that. Good?
Better. Yep, you're good.
You don't need JJ McCarthy to score you a bunch of points. They got playmakers. You got one of the best wide receivers in all of football. You got a good running game. I like Caleb Williams. I think they're going to be much improved. They are home. This is primetime football. I just think that Brian Flores defense is too much. I want to pick Chicago too. I want to pick Chicago. But I'm gonna take Minnesota 21-17.
All right, your mic is doing it again.
Jesus Christ. It won't do it, and then it'll do it over and over again.
All right, so it looks like we're gonna have some good picks this week. Like we're gonna have some real good games that are gonna matter for the record. So, how about you lead us into 1:00 game Sunday, Raiders versus Patriots.
Raiders versus Patriots. I actually have changed garbages our microphones there, Michael K. You fucking retard. You get me, man.
Yeah, we've tried all kinds of things there, Michael K.
Yeah, I've changed the boxes, I've changed the cords, I've changed everything.
Need to change that attitude.
New England versus the Raiders. This game is a toss-up to me because so many things have changed on both these teams, right? The Raiders got a new quarterback. They got new head coaches. Drake May going into his second year. He looks like he could be the real deal, but who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vrabel is the coach of the Patriots now. They added a ton on defense. They had a bunch of salary cap room, and they added a ton of defensive players, but I think they're still lacking in offensive playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Raiders, you know, Geno Smith, I'm not a big Geno Smith guy. I think he's a pretty good game manager, but who knows? Who knows what he's going to look like? You got Max Crosby on that side of the ball. They released Christian Wilkins over some weirdo stuff. Who knows what really happened there? He touching people inappropriately, didn't get the surgery they wanted him to get. Gentry, I think Gentry comes into the league, and right from the jump, he's one of the best running backs in all of football.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You think that's fair? You think
game?
It's at the Patriots?
What do I think? What's fair?
You think that Ashton is going to be that effective right from the jump? All the expectations.
I mean, he was one of the best running backs in all of college football. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I mean, does that necessarily transition? No, it don't. But man,
it's tough. This is a tough pick for me too. Yeah, this is
they're tough because you have no idea what teams are going to look like, right? You know what I mean? You know, once the season gets started and you have some film behind these guys and these teams, you know what they look like. But when you get so many things that change and so many, you know, so many different variables, it really is hard to pick these games week one. I think I'm going to take New England in this one. New England is favored by 2.5. The fact that this game's at home, they're going to be able to play defense. Drake May is the better quarterback, in my opinion. I'm going to say this is a defensive game. I'm going to say 17-14, the Patriots, and they cover the spread.
Gotcha. Yeah, like you were saying, I think, you know, think the Raiders have potential to be pretty good, but Pete Carroll and coming over there and Geno Smith, like you said, Geno could be a good quarterback too. I just think I fought with this one too. I thought this was going to be a really good game. I did want to lead towards the Raiders. I really did. You know, obviously the Patriots picked up Will Campbell in the draft, so that's I don't know, dude. I really want to go. I just don't like giving credit to a running back that hasn't played a game in the NFL yet. You know, you can say all you want. He's this, he's that. I'm going Patriots too. My mom's a Patriots fan. I'm going to take the Patriots 24-17.
24-17.
24-17. All right. Next up, Panthers at Jacksonville. I'm really excited to see this game. Travis Hunter, all that hype that's been built up. He's listed as a starting wide receiver and a backup corner. What are we going to see? Are we going to see him come in on just critical downs? Are we going to see him come in for a series here and there? And you know, he matches up with the fellow rookie McMillan, which could be interesting. The two had some pretty good college battles, largely dominated by McMillan. But I mean, on either end, that could be a really interesting thing to watch. What are we going to get from Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. You know, he's all right. I don't like to cut on people, but I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan. I really don't. The Panthers, I feel like they were starting to get stuff together last year. Bryce Young, he's now in his third year. Tough first season. Second season, he did, what do you have? 2,800 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks. I just don't see the numbers. I don't know. They picked up McMillan 8th overall. I hate this. This is the problem I was having too, is this first week bull crap where you don't get to see what everybody is going to be about. You know, I like 3-4 games in. That's easy, a little bit easier. Young needs to learn to stay in the pocket a little bit longer, work on his arm strength, maybe do his reads a little better. I don't know. I'm going to go the Jags 31-28. I think Hunter has a good game. I'm really curious to see what they do with him when he goes in as corner, and how his performance does it fall off towards the end of the game. And you're already talking the first game of the season, so people are winded by towards the third, fourth quarter, like bad. So I don't know. I'm taking the Jags 31-28. I just kind of threw that number out there. I really didn't know what to put on this one. Yeah, that's what I got for you, Big C.
Yeah, Jacksonville's favored by 3.5. Bryce Young had a really tough beginning of last season. He got benched. There was rumors he was going to be traded, that they were ready to move on from him. And then they put him back in the starting lineup, and he had a semi decent second half to the season. They pulled out a couple of victories. As far as the Jaguars go, Trevor Lawrence got the big payday. He has absolutely not lived up to the hype coming out of college. He was this golden boy, supposed to be the star quarterback, and he just hasn't lived up to the hype. Travis Hunter, yeah, I'm super excited to see what he brings. I don't think that it's possible for a player to play both sides of the ball full time. So
Right.
if that's really what he's trying to do, I think he's delusional. He should pick one side of the ball and stick to it. Now, obviously, you probably want to be a wide receiver because of the money. Wide receivers make more money. But I don't think he's going to be the top wide receiver here. I'm very interested to see Brian Thomas Jr. in his second season. He was absolutely phenomenal last year. I expect great things from him this year. I think this kid has the capability of being a top 5 wide receiver in this league. Again, we need to see a lot, but I think Jacksonville's more talented on both sides of the football. I'm gonna go with the Jags here. I got everybody covering the spread. I'm going 21-17 for this game too. And I think McMillan reminds me a lot of, and this is high praise, Mike Evans. I think he reminds me a lot of Mike Evans.
Yeah, that's definitely not a bad thing to be associated with. Okay, I'm gonna let you pick. You want to do the San Fran, Seattle, or Houston Rams right now?
Neither. Again, Houston. You said Houston Rams?
Yeah. Houston at the Rams.
Yeah. Listen, the Rams outperformed themselves last year. They were better than what I thought they were. They almost knocked out Philly in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford coming back for another year. They added Devontae Adams. They got a really good running game. I think they should be a playoff team. They should be competing for the division over there this year. Houston, CJ Stroud had a down second year. Joe Mixon starting the year on IR. They brought in Nick Chubb. How much does Nick Chubb still have in the gas tank? They traded away their star left tackle and Laramie Tunsil. They got a good defense, but that offensive line gets me nervous. They got star wide receivers. The one still dealing with Tank Dell is still dealing with the leg injury, right? He had a nasty break last year.
Right. Right.
One of the most gruesome injuries I've ever seen on tape. Two of their players had two of the nastiest injuries I've seen on tape between Tank Dell and Nick Chubb. Both those injuries were so bad. But I'm gonna have to go with the Rams. The Rams got a pretty good pass rushing duo that's young. I wish Aaron Donald was still on this team because I think he would take them to a different level. They moved on from Cooper Kupp. Puka is an absolute beast, though. They just throw so many balls his way, and he's just such a he's another Cooper Kupp. He's another Cooper Kupp. Definitely one of the best wide receivers in the league. I'm gonna go Matthew Stafford. I think they win this division this year, so I got them starting out the year with a win.
I agree. I got the Rams in this one too. I am questioning Stafford's back issue, whether it's a strain or I can't remember exactly what it was, but apparently it was pretty nasty. So I do question that. Is that gonna maybe not affect him early in the season, but more towards later in the season as he starts taking some wear and tear? But I do too. I like the Rams in this one. Like you said, CJ didn't have the greatest of years last year, and I don't know, either he does it this year or not, but until then you got to prove me wrong, so I go with the Rams as well.
I'm going 24-21. I didn't say a score, and this is going to be a push because the Rams are getting 3, or the Rams are giving up 3. My fault, so it'll be a push.
Okay, and I'm going 30-17. All right. Next on the docket, Cardinals at the Saints. I think Cardinals have won 6 straight week 1 wins. Darius Robinson, who was hurt last year, first round pick, getting back in shape, getting through training camp healthy. So it's looking like he's going to be good. They added Josh Sweat from the Eagles, which, he's a monster. He hasn't done any preseason stuff yet, so I'm kind of curious about his stamina for the game. I think the Cardinals have the ability to be contenders. Kyler Murray, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions in his 7th season. I don't consider that great. He's going to have to make a move this year. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's coming out a good rookie season, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns. I think the team's expecting more of him. They got Trey McBride. He had over almost 1,200 yards last year. They added nose tackle Devlin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell in his 18th year. He's a little old. And then we go to the other side. The Saints O-line isn't the greatest, but, they have Alvin Kamara. He's back and healthy. He's always an issue to deal with. Head coach Kellen Moore debuts with Spencer Rattler starting at QB. I don't know if I'm sold on Spencer Rattler. I don't really know. I didn't really watch a lot of video of him. I don't have too much of a grasp on that one. But the O-line has 4 first rounders. So what are they going to play like? This was a hard one for me too. I don't think the Saints are going to win this game. I got the Cards 30-17. There really wasn't a whole lot for me to go on. I don't didn't really see any, like I said, Spencer Rattler video. So I got the Cardinals 30-17.
Well, the Cardinals are giving up 6.5 in this one. They're obviously favored. I think the Saints are going to be one of the worst teams in all of football. Kyler Murray, he plays in spurts. Sometimes he's really good. Sometimes he's really bad.
Right.
He's a fantastic athlete. But sometimes he struggles with his decision making. Spencer Rattler doesn't do it for me. He's just a bridge quarterback till they get the rookie in there. I think he starts sooner rather than later. I do like the addition of Calais, even though he's an old guy. But yeah, I got the Cardinals in this one, and I think they should win handily. I think the Saints are going to struggle to score points this year. I mean, they got Alvin Kamara over there still, but he can't do it by himself. I like this one 21-10, and the Cardinals cover the spread of 6.5.
Okay. All right. Hit us off with San Francisco, Seattle.
San Francisco, Seattle, San Francisco. They paid Brock Purdy this offseason. They lost a couple key pieces. They traded Debo over to Washington. Man, Christian McCaffrey's health. A lot of it falls back onto that. They're saying he's dealing with a calf injury now again. He missed most of last year. You've seen this team was completely different without Christian McCaffrey in the lineup. They seem like they had 1.5 million injuries last year. I don't know if they can stay healthy. Seattle, they made super big changes this year. They traded away DK. They let Geno walk out the door. Sam Darnold. Listen, Sam Darnold is an absolute question mark in my book. He played phenomenal for Minnesota last year, but I'm still not sold that he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, lacks that consistency, right?
They added Cooper Kupp to go along with Najigma. Is that how you say his name?
I think so. Najigma. Yeah.
Najigma. Man, this game, San Francisco could be really good this year. They still got George Kittle. You still got Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy is a pretty good quarterback. Your defense, I like your defense if they're healthy, but their team just so much health issues. I'm going to go with San Francisco, hoping that they're healthy at the beginning of the season. Like I said, I'm not sold on Sam Darnold. I'm going to say San Francisco wins 24-21.
Big C. Yeah, I have to agree. I got this one 30-27 for San Fran. I feel the same way about Sam Darnold. I was actually surprised he played as good as he did last year. But I still think San Francisco has a better team, so that ultimately is why I'm going San Fran. All right. Bengals Browns. Burrow led the league in passing. He almost had 500,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, over a 70% completion percentage, only threw 9 picks, passer rating of 108.5. Had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. He was an MVP finalist, 1 comeback player of the year, went to Pro Bowl. He's got an all-star cast around. You had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Chase had 17 touchdowns. Higgins had 10. This team's just explosive. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game. I mean, we're talking about the Browns and Bengals. I just Flacco obviously on the Browns. That doesn't do it for me. He's getting up there. I don't know. I just don't think anything the Browns ever do is a good deal. The only thing they ever did right was keep Miles, and that's all. That's all I'm gonna say. I got the Bengals in this one. I think they're gonna have an awesome game. It's gonna be 34 to let's go 34-14. That's just a guess.
34-13. Well, one thing about the Cincinnati Bengals, we all know about their early season struggles the last few years. Joe Burrow has gone into the last 4 seasons, though, with a nagging knee injury, a tendonitis, a right calf strain, and wrist surgery. He's not dealing with any of those things at the beginning of the season. Again, they've started off really slow. And then you got the Cleveland Browns, who typically play Cincinnati really tough. They've beaten the Bengals 3 of the last 4 meetings in Cleveland, which is crazy to me to think that these Cleveland Browns have beaten the Bengals 3 of the last 4 years in Cleveland.
Damn.
But I don't see a world that Joe Flacco does enough to beat these Cincinnati Bengals. They're just such a high-powered offense. And again, Joe Burrow's not starting off the year with any of those injuries. I think Cleveland they're in a real transition period. You still got Deshaun Watson on this team. You got some defensive pieces, but offensively, Joe Flacco as your quarterback, I don't see the point in that. I think they should be getting them young guys out there. The sooner the better. You drafted Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. You need to see what you got in these young guys, because you're going to be bad again this year, and there's a whole bunch of quarterbacks coming out next year. So you need to see what you got. You need to see what you got, because if these guys aren't the answer, you got to get back to the drawing board next year.
Right.
As far as Cincinnati's got holes all over the defense. They're not very good defensively. They've made some additions, but none that you're writing home about. They were able to keep Trey. Trey's had a great couple of years. I think last 2 years had 17.5 sacks per season, but that's not enough. But offensively, this team is capable of scoring 40 a game. So I think they blow out Cleveland. Cleveland's given up is getting 5.5 in this game. I think Cincinnati should easily cover that. I'm gonna go 30 to 13.
Fair enough. All right. You got Detroit at Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field.
This one is a good one. Green Bay already a fringe playoff team for me. They go and add Parsons. I think that does so much for this football team. I think they're going to be able to compete for the division, but I think Detroit is too good. Jared Goff, listen, he's a savvy vet. He knows where to put the ball. Dan Campbell, he's got a bunch of playmakers. St. Brown is one of the best receivers. Gibbs, Montgomery, 1-2 duo in the backfield is absolutely phenomenal. I just think Detroit is too much. They finished 15-2 last year. Their whole defense was hurt. They get all those guys back this year. The only thing that really gives these guys a chance is that it's at Lambeau, but it's not going to be freezing in Green Bay. I think Gibbs has a huge game, not only running the ball out the backfield but catching it. Yeah, I got Detroit. I think Detroit's one of the better teams in the NFL. I'm going to say Detroit. Green Bay keeps it close, though. I'm going to say 27-24 Detroit.
Okay. I got Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay. I'm gonna go the opposite of you today. I just they're changing things up. They're starting a fresh season, and I think Green Bay is going to be a good team this year. I think they're going to be fighting for the division, and I'm just going Green Bay. I'm going to keep it simple. All right. Where are we at? Tennessee, Denver. It's time to see what Cam Ward can do. That's kind of stupid. They are awesome. They revamped their O-line. Denver's pass rush, though, is one of the best. I had a tough time with this one. Bo Nix, they're back. He 66 completion percentage, almost 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 93.3 rating. Plays amazing, and I think the Denver defense is just too much for Tennessee. Cam's first game, I think he'll have glimpses of flashes of, some beautiful stuff, but I don't think he's going to be there yet. So I'm going to take Denver in this one, 24-10.
See, I'm not big on Bo Nix as a lot of people are.
No?
He too many broken plays. Like, I remember sitting down watching him last year, and it seemed like every play he just scrambled from the pocket and made some backyard playground play with the football. I don't think that's sustainable in the NFL, but I think Denver's defense is too talented for this Tennessee offense. I think Cam Ward, if this was any other year, wouldn't have been a first-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. I think Cam Ward, the thing he does phenomenal is he knows how to maneuver around the pocket and make plays when things break down with the offensive line. But I think this Denver defense is too good. They're a top 5 unit, and
led the league in sacks. Yep.
I think for a rookie quarterback, their first test is Denver in a top-notch defense. I think Cam Ward's going to struggle in this one, and I got Denver. What is the
Denver's a 7.5 favorite, I think.
Do they cover? I'm going to say it's 20-13, so I don't think they cover.
Okay. All right, let me see. What do we got left? I think we got 3 games. You want to hit the Baltimore Buffalo, or you want to go to your Dolphins?
We can save the Baltimore Buffalo for last, I guess.
All right, so we're up to your Dolphins and Colts.
All right, Dolphins, Colts, here we go. Miami Dolphins need to do 5 things correctly to win this football game. They need to be able to run the football first and foremost. Running the football opens up the passing game. It allows big plays to happen downfield. They need to be able to stop the run. They need to limit Jonathan Taylor, limit the things he can do. They need to get pressure on Daniel Jones. Getting pressure on Daniel Jones helps out your young secondary, who are bound to struggle starting out. The Miami Dolphins added Rasul Douglas late in the offseason. But I don't think he's a starter. I think they're going with Storm Duck and Jack Jones. What else they got to do? No turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. Do not turn the ball over. That is huge. That's a key for every team to be successful. And Tua needs to play smart. We cannot have Tua getting injured. This football team looks completely different when Tua is not on the field. I don't care what backups you have, Quinn Ewers, Zach Wilson. If the Tua is not available, the Dolphins will struggle, and this will be a very long and bad season. Now, Daniel Jones, I think he's an all right quarterback. I think he gets a lot of criticisms for his time with the Giants, but I don't think the Giants ever built a team around him. He never had a good offensive line. He didn't have very many weapons. Yeah, he had Saquon, but they didn't have an offensive line. When he had Saquon, they didn't have no receivers. When he had Odell, he didn't have a running game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I think Daniel Jones got a raw deal with the Giants. He's not as talented as Anthony Richardson, who's the number 5 pick from a couple years ago, who Daniel Jones won the starting job from. I think that Indy's got some decent receivers. They got Jonathan Taylor, who's a good running back. Their offensive line is decent. Defensively, they got decent corners. They added Xavier Howard, which is going to be really weird to see him in another uniform besides the Miami Dolphins. But I think the Miami Dolphins are able to run the football. There's rumors that James Daniels might not start with a calf injury. That'll be huge. That'll be disastrous for the Miami Dolphins if their new right guard isn't able to start, because Austin Jackson's coming back from an ankle injury. But I expect this offensive line overall to be improved. I think we'll be able to run the ball. Achane, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully Tyreek's healthy. I just think we're more talented on both sides of the ball. I think our front seven on the defensive side of the ball is going to be able to put pressure on Daniel Jones. It's going to cover up some of our deficiencies in the secondary. I think we'll be able to run the ball, which will lead to big passes downfield to Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington. So I got the Dolphins in this one, starting out the year on the right foot. I think it's going to take a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, for these guys to all get on the same page, because I think continuity is going to be a issue starting out, because Tyreek hasn't practiced in a while. Achane hasn't practiced in a while. So it's going to take a minute for them guys to get it going together. But I like the Miami Dolphins in this one. I'm going to say we win 24-17.
Nice. I got Dolphins 36-24. I don't think anybody is afraid of Daniel Jones. Yeah, he might not have got the best deals, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has it to be a starting quarterback for very long. I just he had his glimpses. He had his moments, definitely, when he played with the Giants, where I believed he could be something. And honestly, half of that was just fighting with the fact that we didn't really have a choice. We just had to kind of deal with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. So I think Indiana Jones gets his ass beat. I think it's 36-24 Dolphins.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. I guess it's on to the Giants. I don't know. I don't know who to pick in this game. I don't know who I'm gonna pick. Obviously, we got the old man Russ, former Super Bowl winner, is coming in. We got Malik Neighbors had an awesome year last year. I'm very excited to see Abdul Carter in this defense, and Burns and Thibodeau, and we got Sexy Dexy holding up the nose. And I'm worried. I'm worried about our offensive line again. Andrew Thomas is a question mark, dealing with issues, and that's always the biggest thing with the Giants is I'm always concerned. I'm always concerned with the offensive line. Now, that being said, we watch preseason, and I know preseason's a lot of vanilla looks. It's not what you're going to get. But with Russell Wilson, we know he's going to take shots down the field. He's going to give those opportunities to Malik Neighbors. And I'm very excited to see this Giants offense and how they mesh. And I'm more excited to see the defense. Now, the key to this game is the Giants defense has to keep Jaden Daniels. They gotta keep him behind the line of scrimmage. They gotta keep him from running, because if we don't, and he's running all over us, that just opens up bigger problems for down the field passes. And you know, the Redskins, the Commanders, they surprised everybody last year. They just kept playing. They had a lot of close games that could have went the other way. I mean, he had the Hail Mary play, which was insane. Um, so a lot of things did go their way in some of those close games, but they're a good team. They're definitely not somebody to sleep on. At the end of the day, I'm a Giants fan. I'm going Giants 27-21.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
27-21. I appreciate the fact that you still select the Miami Dolphins to win, but I don't think I can return the.
I understand, brother. It's okay. You
I don't
pick
think
what
I
you
can
have to
return
pick.
the Washington Commanders. I expect to be one of the better teams in the league. They made it to the NFC Championship game last year. Jane Daniels as a rookie. They added Deebo Samuel. They added Laramie Tunsil. They gave a new contract to Scary Terry.
Scary.
Man, I just think Washington's one of the better teams in this league. I am curious to see the New York Giants, but not week one. I'm curious to see what this New York Giants team looks like when they finally put Jackson Dart behind center. Because I think Jackson Dart has the chance to be the next franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. And I think they're wasting time. I think they're wasting time with Russell Wilson.
Agreed.
Get Jackson Dart out there. This team is not competing for a championship this year. It makes zero sense to start Russell Wilson. It makes zero sense. Zero sense. Russell Wilson is far and away past his prime. He struggled. To me, he struggled last year in Pittsburgh. He struggled to put points on the board. Now, if you go back and look at his stat sheet, he didn't play bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he wasn't the same Russell Wilson. He hasn't been the same Russell Wilson for years. And you got this up and coming quarterback on your bench. Play him. See what you got. Start getting some connection between him and neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Start seeing what this offense could be. Now, I do like the Giants defense. I think the Giants defense is probably a top 10 unit. They had Javon Howland, a couple other pieces, Abdullah in the draft.
Yep.
But they're just
Golston.
They're just a tough division. And like I said, I'd like to see Jackson Dart in there. But I think Washington's too talented. I think it is a close game. The division rivals and all. But I think Washington pulls it out 21-17.
Nice. All right. Let's end it right now with Baltimore at Buffalo. I mean, obviously this is a big game. Baltimore they gave up. They gave it up. I think they had a perfect opportunity. Lamar's been so close so many times. He just can't seem to close the deal. How do you feel about this game? How do you feel that Mr. MVP is going to do in this game? Well, it's MVP versus MVP, I guess you could say, because I don't know. I still think Lamar should have been MVP, but there's that. But I will say Josh Allen did have a crazy season. He threw the pass to himself technically and dove for that touchdown in the snow that game. Like, that was pretty insane. Like, I don't know. This game, I haven't even picked a score yet. I didn't even really want to think about, because I really think this game can go either way. Where do you stand on this one?
We got Lamar Jackson coming in, dealing with an injury. How healthy is he? I think the Baltimore Ravens are a far superior team as far as talent goes. I think the Bills are top heavy with Cook and with Josh Allen as their most talented players on the offensive side of the ball. The Bills got a good offensive line. There's question marks all over that defense, specifically stopping the run. What does Baltimore do well? They run the football. Derrick Henry had a phenomenal year last year. I think that Lamar Jackson was the true MVP last year. Although Josh Allen had a great year, I think Lamar should have won that. I think they gave it to Josh Allen because they felt bad. And I think Lamar's going to feel some type of way about that. Because if you look at their stats up and down, Lamar had the better year. This game is in Buffalo.
Yeah,
What's
it's
up?
in Buffalo. None. The screen was skipping a little bit, but you're good now.
Oh. The Buffalo's tough to beat in Buffalo, but I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think they're just a better team all the way around. I think that they know what they got to do, and that's stop Josh Allen. And I think this defense is talented enough to slow Josh Allen down. Nobody's gonna completely stop Josh Allen. He's just too good. But I think they'll do enough to slow him down. This won't be the last time they'll see each other. They'll see each other again in the playoffs, and we'll see if there's a different outcome then. But I think Baltimore starts off the year right with a win. And I'm going to say it's going to be 34-31 Baltimore.
Yeah, I got it a close one too. I got Derrick Henry in my fantasy league, so I'm going Baltimore. I think it has a lot of rushing yards between him and Lamar. I mean, the injury was somebody stepped on his foot, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, and he didn't seem too concerned about it. So I got the Ravens as well. I think they come out in this game with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And yeah, I think MVP of last year loses game one, and the person that should have been MVP wins game one. And that's all I got to say about that. And that's all our games.
Yeah. Super excited. Can't wait for these Dolphins to kick off tomorrow against the Indianapolis Colts. Super excited, but super nervous. Super nervous. I want this team to perform well, because if your team's not playing well, it turns into a long season. And this is a game that the Miami Dolphins should win. You know what I mean? They got a fairly easy schedule at the beginning of the year. And if we can't beat the teams that we should beat, it's a tough season. You know what I mean? So I think I'm super excited to see what we have. Hopefully we can get healthy and remain as healthy as we are. And super excited to see our rookie class. We didn't have a bunch of free agents, but super excited to see our rookie class and see what they're made of.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, that is our show. We'll be back Monday to break down all these games.
And
I'll probably see you. I'll probably see you sometime tomorrow on the Fin Posse podcast. Pre-game, I don't know if I'm gonna stream the game yet. We'll see. But to all you football fans, let's go. Week 1. We've already had a couple great games so far. Here's to a great season. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Laces Out Live. Any closing words, Mike?
Hey, man, like you said, thanks everybody for joining us. It's our first Pickems. It's exciting. Last year we started, I think, week 5 or 6. And, we had a lot of fun doing the show and talking about all this football, but we actually get a full season in this year. I'm really excited. I haven't been excited about football like this in a long time. So I appreciate everybody stopping in and giving your comments, even if you give some shitty ass comments here and there. But, I love everybody just the same. And, whoever your team is, probably Dolphins, because you're all Dolphin lovers out there. Good luck to you guys. And I'll see you Monday at 7:00.
Michael K.
Yeah.
All right, fins up. Peace.
Go Giants.
Big C and Mike Jones, they call the plays in the zone. Spit facts, no cap, straight to the bone. Gritter, roaring gossip, the field's their home. Huddle up, press play, you're never alone. Sunday sermons, but the church is turf. From Lambeau chills to Miami surf. Quarterback questions, they dissect the worth. Dropping gems like they mine the earth. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. NFL drama, they break it down surgical. Draft day whispers, moves so tactical. Receiver stretching arms, catches vertical. Big C's laugh hitting, vibes so magical. Mike Jones got stats like a human playbook. Big C's insight sharper than a no look. Halftime debates, better than they should. You fumble the podcast, now you misunderstood. Flags fly, refs blind, penalty stack. They calling out the calls, no sugar, just facts. Fantasy picks, who's carrying the pack? Every week they hit harder than a linebacker smack. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to OT, they never forgot. Tune into the squad, this the spot. Sunday sermons, but the church is turf. From Lambeau chills to Miami surf. Quarterback questions, they dissect the worth. Dropping gems like they mine the earth. Laces out, the mic stays hot. Breaking down the game, every yard, every plot. From kickoffs to